Now we're going to move on to what we call the zero exponent rule. So what is the zero exponent rule and how do you use it? Well, when any base has an exponent of 0, it is equal to 1. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. Notice this says x to the power of 0. So x to the power of 0 is equal to just 1. That's it. Anytime you see anything to the power of 0, it's always going to be 1. 5 to the power of 0 is 1. So let's go ahead and write that down to get yourself some notes. 5 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. 12 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. So no matter what, anything to the power of 0 is going to be equal to 1. Let's take a look at this next one here. Something like this might create a little bit of confusion, but if we work it out and use our rules, our quotient rule specifically, we'll be able to find the answer. So let's take a look. If I work this out right here, using my quotient rule, first of all, 1 divided by 2, that's a fractional value. It can't be further simplified, so we're just going to write it over here, 1 divided by 2. Then I have x to the power of negative 8. So I'm going to write that, okay, times x to the power of negative 8. And then I'm going to use that quotient rule, which says that I now have to subtract the power on the denominator from the numerator. So x to the power of negative 8 minus negative 8. Now in this case, remember we always have to distribute this negative sign, and a negative times a negative turns this into a positive. So what is negative 8 plus 8? That would give me 0. So this would be 1/2 x times x to the power of 0. Remember from that point, x to the power of 0 really is just 1. That's like saying 1/2 times 1. Instead of times x to the power of 0, it's 1/2 times 1, which would just give me 1/2, because 1 times anything is itself. So kind of a tricky problem, but this really tests your knowledge to see, do you understand the zero rule? Alright, let's look at this last one here. On this last problem, we have x to the power of 4 times y to the power of 4 over x to the power of 2 times y to the power of 4. Okay, well I'm going to rewrite this starting to the right. We're going to do some math here. So I have this first x to the power of 4. So I'm going to write, okay, x to the power of 4. And then it's going to be minus the power of 2. Because notice these two x's have the same base. So I'm simply subtracting the denominator's power from the numerator's power. And then that's all going to be multiplied to y to the power of 4 minus, so we have this 4 on top for that y. Notice it has a power of 4. So we have a 4 right there. Minus 4. Now, if I go ahead and I continue, I'm going to work down top to bottom. So I'm going to move my answer over here. So x to the power of 4 minus 2 gives me x to the power of 2. And then y to the power of 4 minus 4 gives me times y to the power of 0. And then if I remember my rule, anything to the power of 0 is just going to be 1. So that's like saying this is really x to the power of 2 times 1. Which if I take x to the power of 2 times 1, well, anything times 1 is just itself. So I end up with a final answer of just x to the power of 2.